Welcome to the Week 10 picks, everybody. We are joined by Piccadilly and Drizzle again. Drizzle's looking extra cut today. As you can see, he's been spending lots of time in the gym trying to make his NFL debut. We're going to do a quick Week 9 reconcile of our picks and then jump into Week 10 and see how poorly we do for the second week in a row. So I appreciate everybody tuning in, either watching live on Twitch or checking out this video here. And let's get into it. All right, good sirs. Let's
Hello.
hello.
Hello, hello.
Welcome.
Let's see how poorly week 9 went here. As everybody can see by the records listed, it was not a great week. It was also a very weird week. There were some major upsets and a lot of things that happened that I think a lot of people didn't expect to happen. So I went 9-5, as expected. Piccadilly 6-8, took a couple hard L's, and Drizzle 7-7. At least it's 500, respectable. Respectable. It's 500. It might make the playoffs. So, so since we started late in the season, we'll just have a little total running week to week to kind of do a little friendly sushi dinner competition that we have decided on. Anything you guys want to call out as weird, or I think Buffalo is pretty obvious.
Yeah, I was gonna say, outside of Buffalo, I don't know. For me, for more me and Bryce, I guess Vegas not being able to do anything with the Giants, and then Cincinnati not taking the win over Cleveland was unexpected, to say the least.
Yeah, Buffalo only being able to muster 6 points against an Urban Meyer defense is just I don't understand that one bit.
I know Jacksonville's was due, but I wasn't expecting it to be against Buffalo, which is probably one of the best, or if the best team in the AFC, supposedly. So
yeah, and they've struggled 2 weeks in a row. They didn't look good against Miami in week 8 either. Yeah. So something's going on. Maybe nobody circles the wagons like the Bills though. So maybe this week.
Hey, look who's right on their coattails now. New England.
Yeah, Mac Jones is the truth apparently.
And their
Belichick's got it figured out over there.
Yeah,
their defense is good, and they're game planning around Mac Jones to hide whatever weaknesses he may have as a rookie quarterback. Bears, you should probably take some notes.
If I was them, I'd reach out to OBJ. I think they did, but if they got OBJ, especially putting back-to-back good games together, I think that would. He'd be the number one, and that'd give Mac Jones a prolific wide receiver, and then you never know what they can do. I just don't know if OBJ can take the diva out of himself for that kind of thing.
I don't know how much he's got left in the tank. If you believe what he said and he's still playing with a torn labrum that he never got fixed, how healthy can he actually be?
That's a crazy thing to me too. You make so much money and he got off-season surgery anyway. Why didn't he get it done then?
Right. Yeah, you were already out with the knee. You might as well just kill 2 birds with 1 stone. But
yeah.
All right, enough. I guess looking at this misery. Hopefully you guys did your research for week 10 and you ready to jump into it?
I did some research, yeah.
Okay.
I looked at some.
I'm going in blind, don't know who's playing who.
Bryce doesn't even know it's week 10.
Look. You see these muscles, we're just pumping iron.
Yeah, I just want to say you've really clearly put the time in the gym, and that is all natural, clearly. I can even tell by your neck skin tone to your chest skin tone that is all 100% your body. So congratulations. I want to say I'm very proud of your journey that you've taken.
That's why I don't have a face cam, because like people would it'd be too much for people.
Yeah, I don't know if a standard camera can handle that. I don't even know how that picture was taken, to be honest.
Yeah, look, we'll just leave that for the imagination, all right?
That's fair. All right. So let's start with Thursday. We've got Baltimore visiting Miami. As per last week, road favorites highlighted in pink. And I've done a couple over-under highlights that I identified a little early. But so Baltimore, road favorite, going to Miami. Miami didn't look great. Baltimore fell behind early to Minnesota last week too, and then Lamar just did Lamar things and led them to an overtime victory, which was, good to see for our picks. So I guess if you guys want to start and throw what you're feeling out there.
Yeah, I mean, the Dolphins defense have been looking kind of better, right? Like over the last couple of weeks. But I don't think they're going to be able to handle all of the RB1s that Baltimore has.
Yeah.
And I think like the Ravens defense has its issues, but with how bad the Dolphins offense has been, I just don't see it being a blowout. I think it'll be close, but I don't see the Ravens having an issue with this one.
Yeah.
I think Miami has been playing better defensively, but with Tua being kind of sidelined, or we really don't know what's up with him with his middle finger, I couldn't bet on Miami, right? But also Lamar has been RB1, but he's also 9th in the league for passing, or as of last week at least. And people said he couldn't throw the ball. So I mean, he's putting it together, probably at the right time. So I would go Baltimore easily.
Yeah. So clean sweep. It looks like we are all picking the Ravens, and as a change from last week's very budget show, we have graphics now that will show up beneath each of our faces, which is really cool. And what I really need is a producer to do this for me while we do this, but that isn't, we're not quite there yet.
You paying me, I'll do it.
Okay. I also want to point out that Lamar not only has been passing more, but also is Baltimore's leading rusher with 600 yards. And Miles Gaskin has 11 less carries than Lamar and only 313 yards. So I just don't foresee a way Miami is stopping Baltimore.
But that's a good point too. They literally lean into what Lamar does good, and then trying to get the passing game, get him to develop. That's what most NFL teams or coaches should do. Like, you try and develop. Yeah, you want people to come out of college and be great, but it's not how it works. This is the NFL. You're playing against superstars all the time.
Right.
They're doing it well.
Yep. Agreed. All right. Jacksonville visiting Indy for a divisional matchup. Indy, massive home favorites, getting 10.5, giving 10.5. Still have a banged up James Robinson on Jacksonville. Jonathan Taylor looks like a world beater. I don't know if anyone can tackle that man, but and he, after a stellar end to last year, I think a lot of people thought there would be some regression, especially in the fantasy world, but he has looked every bit of an RB1. Carson Wentz, I know I made fun of his bad feet last week, but he has looked very good outside of a few weird interceptions. But I mean, he's not really costing them games. He's been very serviceable. But the Jags did just somehow put up 9 points and win against Buffalo. With that said, I still don't think that Jacksonville goes into Indy especially with no James Robinson. You can't win with 9 points in the NFL week to week. I still don't think Urban Meyer has any clue what he's doing with an offensive game plan. And I think Indy just absolutely throttles them and blows them out.
Bryce, go to yours. My fucking camera just like exploded on my stream real quick, so I'm trying to fix that. So you go first, Bryce.
So this would have been like if it wasn't for last week with Jacksonville beating Buffalo. This is like I think this would be the game that they finally get through. Just because I don't think Indy's very good, mediocre at best, but they do have a good offensive line and the running game. Jonathan Taylor, I mean, he looked magnificent last week. Like, I mean, but also, did you see those holes that the offensive line made for him? Like,
yeah, it was the Jets, so like you got to take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah. So I mean, but still, I mean, they're usually people can't run. I mean, do that. So I mean, I guess it depends, right? This is a tough one for me because, like I said, I thought this would be their breakthrough game, but I can't. I think Jacksonville will keep it close, but I think Indianapolis will pull it out.
I was I feel like this one is going to be closer than what it's going to be. Like they're going to be feeling really good after last week, even though they only got one touchdown. And I feel like they're going to take that high into this week against Indy, and Indy obviously is going to be studying a lot of whatever they did last week. And I don't think the Jaguars can do it again. Like I don't think they can hold Indy to it.
Short and sweet. So that's a pick for Indy for you as well. So we have another consensus. Yeah, for the shoe. I don't know why I typed that in for you in the spreadsheet. I got a little ahead of I got a little ahead of myself putting the picks in there. And I just get so excited. Sometimes I hit tab and start typing again just too quickly. So all right, on to our next game, which is Cleveland at New England. I think this is one of the more interesting games on the slate, to be honest. Or I guess I did, but both top running backs may not be playing. Nick Chubb is on the COVID list, and Damian Harris is potentially dealing with a concussion. And Ramondre Stevenson also dealing with a concussion potentially, so it might be Brandon Bolden
Also,
for the Patriots.
Didn't want to interrupt, but Kareem Hunt is not playing this week.
Yeah, and Kareem Hunt is not playing, so it could be another D'Ernest Johnson game. New England only getting 1.5 points, even with all of that news. It could move later in the week as things become more official. Baker has been decent, looks better without OBJ, as was the case last year as well. New England, not an easy place to go into and play. They have been looking a lot better. But Cleveland's defense is healthy. Denzel Ward, when healthy, like I don't think New England has a receiver that's really worth like Denzel Ward needing to shut down. So I don't know how well New England's going to move the ball through the air, and with no potential starting running backs. I know it kind of sucks making these picks on Wednesday with more practice updates to come, but I think I'm going to take my first against Vegas pick, and I am going to go with the Browns here for the second week in a row. I think they're looking good, and D'Ernest Johnson filled in well for Nick Chubb a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and I think he can do it again.
I mean, this one's gonna be too close, and I think it's too uncomfortable of a pick. I'm in the same boat. I think I'm also gonna be going with the Browns on this one, just because like there's a chance that they don't have Chubb, but he's had the vaccine, so he just needs a negative test. So odds are like he probably will play.
It's the
And
it's the
the Browns'
roids.
defense have been
Kingpin,
looking
it's the
really
roids.
good against like anything like running plays and shit. Like they've just been locking those down pretty well. And if Damian Harris is completely out this week, I don't think New England has any like RB1 ready folks that would be able to break open some plays. So um and with Mac Jones being like a really inconsistent passer, like he's been getting better obviously since like the start of the season,
Yeah.
and they're kind of like coming into their own with Belichick figuring some stuff out. But I don't know. It's going to be close, but I'm going with the Browns on it.
I saw an interesting stat that I believe, and I'm pretty sure it's true, that Jacoby Myers now has the most yards of any receiver in NFL history without scoring a touchdown. The dude is he's allergic to the end zone.
How many? So first of all, that's going to be a great prop bet. Anyone out there?
It dates back to last year. It's like it's like 1,300 yards or something without a touchdown.
That's insane.
And he's tall. Like he should be a decent red zone target. Sorry, go ahead, Bryce, and talk about your decision here.
So no, you're fine. We're talking on football. That's all. I think this is gonna be one of those New England Belichick games. Like Cleveland just won't be able to get anything going for whatever reason. Baker will just not look good. It might not be a high scoring game, but I just think it's in New England and they've put some good games together. So I'm gonna lean with Belichick and the Patriots this week.
I like it.
The running backs being kind of hit or miss. So
our first disagreement. I didn't highlight this one, but now that we talk about it more, I think the under might be the play at 45.5. I just don't see where either team is really gonna be able to generate much in the way of offense. Yeah, it was just like at a certain point, like talent wins in the NFL, and if you don't have talent on the field, it's very hard to score.
Yeah.
So I think this could be a prime under candidate. I'm actually going to highlight that and probably make that play this weekend. All right, on to our next game. Atlanta at Dallas. Man, Dallas last week
laid an egg.
Dak looked terrible. Zeke got banged up, and then down 30, they bring him back into the game for no reason. Like, you've got Tony Pollard that you can just let him stay in. You've already lost. They even having Dak in there late in the fourth. Like, what? I don't understand what Mike McCarthy's doing there. I was super surprised, even though Denver's defense is fine, but they just got rid of Von Miller and they shut down all of Dallas's weapons. Atlanta
also don't score points like that. 30 points.
Right.
Like, yeah, that was interesting to me.
Atlanta, they beat New Orleans with a Trevor Siemian-led team, but they didn't exactly look great. Still no Calvin Ridley. Dallas is giving 9, which is a big number, but I think this is a bounce back game for them against, Atlanta's defense is absolutely god awful. I don't think they can cover anybody on Dallas. I don't think that they can stop the run. I think Dallas's defense can shut down Kyle Pitts and Cordell Patterson. You're not Russell Gage and Zacchaeus. They're not a threat to anybody. So I think in a pretty easy victory, I say that and watch now. They're gonna get shut out again through 3 quarters.
Hey, we thought that last week.
But I think this is a pretty easy Cowboys pick here.
Yeah, short and sweet. Cowboys aren't going to be happy after last week, and they're going to be coming back with a vengeance. So I'm also taking Cowboys.
Easy.
I'm
easy money.
Torn. I think I don't know if Atlanta's playing well or just getting lucky. because I mean Matt Ryan's what, ancient? He's so old
Yeah.
in football years. And like they don't have. I mean, Calvin Ridley's took a leave of absence, and I mean Cordell Patterson is playing running back and receiver, and no one. I think they're getting lucky, and I think Dallas, like Derek and you mentioned, like I think they're just going to be pissed, and I think they're going to run them over.
All right. We're all in agreement again. It feels good. Feels good to all agree. It also helps me keep this lead. Like I should let you guys make all your picks first, and then just make sure I pick the same if you guys always pick both the same team, and then I won't lose my lead.
Meta?
Yeah, I can just I can just protect this 2-game lead for the rest of the year. It doesn't matter if we go 0-16. I still keep a 2-game lead the rest of the year. All right. On to the next.
I can't believe you would do something like that.
I'm definitely not. I'm not above doing something like that to get free sushi. Just throwing that out there. All right. Bills at the Jets. The Bills, road favorite, as I think everybody expects they would be. Giving 13. I will let either Piccadilly or Drizzle take this one to start.
Revenge game for the Bills. They're going to be. It's another scenario. They're going to be pissed about last week. 6 points.
What up, Tommy?
The Jaguars.
How are you, my dude?
They're not going to be too happy about it. They probably had to run laps, for next practice. They were just end zone to end zone for 3 hours, just running.
Yeah.
Back to high school days.
Yeah.
Knox should be back. He was at practice today. Sorry, my cat is freaking out in my lap.
Soup. Yeah, who would have thought with Dawson Knox is the engine that makes that offense go?
I mean, look, I'll take it because I got him on my team. So more touchdowns the merrier. I feel with Knox coming back, he's got more weapons. And Josh Allen needs to definitely redeem himself after last week. So I am for sure taking Buffalo on this. Honestly, I could see it being like a blowout, like 33-13. Like I feel like the Jets are not going to be able to get the ball moving much.
So for me, this is where my being a Chicago fan comes to haunt me. Because now I'm wondering, does Buffalo lay an egg again? Against the Jets? 2 bad teams in a row. Does that happen?
What up? What up, Ames? Seriously, that was a terrible taunting call.
Just dismantled them. But that's where my head's at. So I'm gonna lean with Buffalo, but I wouldn't be surprised if they lay an egg again.
Do we know who's starting yet for the Jets?
I don't think so.
I mean, if it's not Hall of Famer Mike White, I don't think there's any chance that that the Jets win. Like, isn't it crazy that they cut him twice? Bring him back as a backup and he just looks better than Zach Wilson. Like, hopefully whatever play calling Robert Saleh and his coaching staff came up with Mike White, they just take that and just immediately transfer it over to Zach Wilson or Joe Flacco if Joe Flacco somehow starts.
So Mike White is starting.
Okay, well there you go. There's what we needed to know. His forearm injury, not that serious. So
see, I wouldn't be surprised if they somehow pull it out, and then we're all questioning if Buffalo is actually any good.
I mean, it's a divisional game, so like they're generally close, but I mean, I don't see the Bills laying, I guess, a third egg in a row. Like, it's the Dolphins, so divisional game. Then you go to Jacksonville, and you just honestly, the turnovers are what killed them. Like, they just killed so many drives. And then you go to New York and lose to a Mike White led Jets. Like, I don't foresee that happening. I'm gonna go with the safe money of the Bills. Also, another game that I think could be a little high on the point total, just in case Buffalo does not play well again. Their defense is good enough to not give up points, and if they're still off offensively, like I don't know how they get to 47 between both of them. This could be another like 9-6 game potentially, but I just hopefully it's in favor of Buffalo.
Every team has at least like one goose, right? Like one goose egg, and I feel like that was Buffalo's last week, and they're just gonna come back looking normal.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Last week didn't happen.
Yeah, that's why I'm not gonna touch that over under, but I could definitely see that under being way under if people wanted to get real aggressive with like an alternate spread or an alternate over under and take like under 40 or something like that.
Yeah, I just wonder if it increases or lowers by Sunday.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens. Also, Ames in the chat. How about those refs Monday night? I think Drizzle has some choice words to say to Tony Correnti and his crew.
He's trash. Absolute trash.
I want to know.
The Bears are not any like very good anyway. But like, what are they doing? What is this taunting penalty?
Bro, I was fine up until that taunting call. Like after watching the replay on that, it's so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And what happened years ago where they're like, yeah, you know what? Unless it's like actually saying something derogatory to a player or something, standing over a guy, and now all of a sudden you can't even look at anybody. You're like, let's bash heads against each other for 60 minutes.
Slightly rubs his shoulder on the ref. And it's a taunting call. Like,
yeah, looks at the sideline. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing here?
Who asked for taunting to be enforced? That's what I want to know. Like,
probably the owners.
It's the owners, right?
Yeah, it's gotta be.
But like, are they just worried about the optics of like fights breaking out? Because it's not like it was all that common before the taunting penalty was introduced. I mean, you'd get your scraps here and there, but this is also the same league that installed cameras and screens in each end zone so that defensive teams could celebrate after a turnover and take selfies and pose. And that's not taunting. Like, I just don't understand like the thought process of the league.
The no fun league or the sometimes you can have fun league.
Yeah. Oh, if you score a touchdown, it's okay to taunt. But if you make a big play defensively, no. You can't stare. You can't do anything. And apparently,
go bash these heads.
Apparently, TJ Watt was like blowing kisses at the Bears bench during the game, and that's not taunting. Kisses safe. Staring, not safe.
It's crazy to me. I want to know who came up with this. Like you said, like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
What I want to know is, did you see the Cassius Marsh spin kick that he did after that sack, though?
Dude, did you see those tattoos?
That spin kick was unbelievable. He should just spin kick people to tackle him if he's going to get penalized anyway.
Dude, I'd pay good money to see that.
Yeah, it was an excellent spin kick in full pads, mind you. All right, we're on to our next one. New Orleans going to visit Tennessee. Tennessee giving 3. Looked very good. A Derrick Henry-less Tennessee Titans. And I wanted to save this when we got to the Rams a little bit. But what was Matt Stafford doing? He goes to Detroit, and then did he get infected with like Lions juice? And he just like he just forgot where he was playing. He's like, oh, I must be back in Detroit. I'm just gonna throw this off my back foot in the end zone and just easy pick 6.
I think we're all forgetting who Matthew Stafford is.
I know.
He's always been this.
He
throws for thousands of yards, but he can't win the big games. Throws weird interceptions, and that's just what his career has been. I think that's just who he is now.
Highly under anticipated what the Titans were going to be doing that game. Like, I feel like they probably went in and were like, oh, they don't got Derrick Henry, the whole team's just going to collapse.
Yeah. And I mean, they didn't even really have to do much offensively, to be honest. Like
No.
the Rams gave them great field position on one of the turnovers. Obviously, you had the pick six. But yeah, Tennessee at home giving 3 to New Orleans. New Orleans looked terrible against Atlanta. Trevor Siemian clearly is not the answer. I wonder if we see more Taysom Hill this week.
I don't think he's played terrible. I mean, did you see how many drop passes the receivers had?
Well, that's the other. They have no weapons. Like, if there was a team that should sign OBJ, labrum tear or not, like, I know he also wants to go home, but they could really use somebody, some playmaker. Because like Michael Thomas, probably not back this year after his setback. So it's basically almost 2 years of being out of football.
Yeah, and even if he did come back, he's going to be his conditioning is going to be bad. I mean, yeah. So it's not Drew Brees throwing to him. So,
but yeah, I mean, Tennessee has played some teams now, and they have won. They're good at home, and the Saints not as good on the road, especially with a depleted team. They just don't have a lot of talent outside of Alvin Kamara. So I'm gonna go Titans here. I also think that -3 is a good number if people are looking to gamble that game. I think they probably cover by more.
You know, I know it's only middle of the week, right? So a lot of the analysis stuff that I've been reading, it's like early, whatever. There were a lot of things I was reading that just like they weren't. I feel like many people weren't watching the same games as I have been over the last few weeks, because like the Titans defense made the Rams look silly like that whole game. Like it was just like it didn't look like the Rams team that was, what are they now, 7-1? I don't know what their record is off the top of my head, but 7-2. I don't fucking know.
The Rams
Are they 6 and they're 6 and
are 7-2. You were correct.
7-2. I was right. Okay. Like I feel like if Tennessee's defense shows up again for this game, then they're getting their 6th straight win. Like that, there's no way New Orleans can. I don't. They're not even close to the same team as the Rams, so I imagine this will just be super easy cakewalk for Tennessee. And I'm hoping that like they kind of aren't feeling that way too, because like I feel like they might go in and be like, oh, this should be easy win, and then the Saints are going to throw up like 60 points or something. Like it's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean the Saints do have a good defense, so they always have a chance to win and stay in it. But I again, it's kind of like the Cleveland New England game. Like, where are they getting points from? Like,
yeah,
if Tennessee keys on Kamara, where do the rest of the points come from?
I think the Saints, if their defense didn't have those hiccups that they did last week, they win that game against Atlanta easily, right?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
They also, I mean, I think they're 3-0 on the road this year. I don't know if the first game against the Packers counts, but
they are.
That was technically a home game.
3-1 away. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I also think the Titans have always been a team when they have been good, they'll lay an egg after putting together some good wins like the last two. So I think, I don't know how it's going to get done. I think it might just be the Titans not playing well, and I think New Orleans will pull it out. So
ooh, look at that. Look at that. The upset.
I didn't predict Bryce's prediction correctly, so hold on, I gotta
trying to preload the transitions,
yeah,
and it came back to bite you. I like that. I mean, you're trying to make up some ground on these picks.
And have you seen? I mean, the last couple weeks, there's been some crazy upsets, and I mean, I wouldn't even consider New Orleans over Tennessee a crazy upset, but anything can happen in the NFL. So
yeah, I mean that's why they play the games, right? So it's why it's one of the few leagues that has as much parity as it does, just because
Exactly.
it's so like obviously injury ridden, and it's not your typical 162 or 82 game season where generally speaking your better teams just win due to longer periods of time having better talent. It's what makes football so unique compared to everything else. All right, Tampa Bay going to Washington. After coming off the bye, I think this one's more interesting than obviously the records or probably like the general public consensus is going to be on this game. I mean, even Vegas, Tampa Bay 9.5-point road favorite, pretty large total at 51.5. You have both teams coming off the bye actually, but AB still hurt, but did get out of his walking boot today. I saw Gronk still dealing with a back injury. Chris Godwin popped up, I believe, with a knee injury today. And then Antonio Gibson's dealing with that like hairline fracture in his shin. So a lot of talent that's injured. Obviously, it's still Taylor Heineke, who looked like a world beater to start the season, but has really not looked good. Maybe some bye week magic can help that. And I mean, Tampa Bay's secondary is still decimated with injury and just not very good. So maybe Terry McLaurin can do some good things and get open, and Taylor Heineke can find him. But outside of McLaurin, I just don't think there's a lot of points for Washington to find in this game. Tom Brady generally doesn't turn the ball over much, so I think they've been really good. I think they continue to be really good. Tampa, that is. And I think Tampa is going to go into Washington and get a W.
I feel like Tampa's worst is still better than Washington's best, regardless of who is in or who is out.
Yeah.
Come Sunday for Tampa Bay, I don't. And again, we could see massive upset here, but I just don't see Washington being able to out touchdown Tom Brady. So
never try to out touchdown Tom. That's I'm pretty sure one of the 10 commandments actually.
At this point, it's gotta be.
Yeah.
I think, like Rain mentioned earlier, that with Tampa Bay's secondary still being, pretty injured, I think Terry McLaurin and Tyler Heineke might put up some points, and it might be a good day for Terry. But I think they still get beat by 10 points. So like Derek said, just kind of following you guys. Like, there's no, I just don't see it happening.
Also, what happened to Washington's defense? They were so good last year, and they Chase Young looked amazing in his rookie year. They don't put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. They don't really particularly stop the run or the pass well. Like, they're just not good. And if you can't score and your defense isn't good, I mean, I guess that's why they're 2-6, right? They're just not a good team.
I think it's too much when they don't have a good offense.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed. All right. On to, man, we have to talk about Detroit. That's
which one of us is going to take them?
I mean, it's not going to be me.
They're going to be due for one. They're going to be due, right? They got to be.
I mean, they could be the best 0-17 team ever, but they still might go 0-17. So yeah, Detroit traveling to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh giving 9, 42.5 over under. Pittsburgh has kind of been putting it together a little bit. I think if everybody watched the Monday night game and saw kind of Chicago mount a comeback at the end of that game, I I think that game was not as close as maybe the final score indicated. Obviously, you have the defensive touch or the special teams touchdown for the Bears late. The Pittsburgh offensive line is coming together. Detroit is they're not terrible defensively. Offensively, obviously they can't score. Pittsburgh has been better. I just don't see. Again, I these are like some weird matchup games, and I just don't see a path for Detroit to win. So I think Najee controls this game, and I mean Chase Claypool popped up with an injury today, and he's been dealing with some injuries on and off, but apparently not season ending. He may not play, but between Deontay, Pat Freiermuth is having a breakout rookie season, and there's just really not a lot to talk about on Detroit's end. So Jared Goff is terrible. Deontay or Swift is really good.
On a terrible team.
On a terrible team, and they just have no receivers. So I will be taking Pittsburgh here.
You know what?
Do it. Take Detroit.
No. I feel like they're gonna come back maybe feeling a little bit motivated. We might see some like goofy shit, right? Like when they were fucking faking punts and getting onside kicks and all that shit. Like just take all the goofy plays from Madden, just running like 4 verticals every time. But it's the Steelers are just gonna run all over Detroit's defense. There's no chance.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Detroit infected Matt Stafford in that game. Yeah. He ate at mom's spaghetti, and they put something in the spaghetti, and now he's just Detroit Matt Stafford. That's the best thing they'll do all year.
I'm going to keep it short and sweet. If Detroit beats Pittsburgh, as a Bears fan, I'm going to be pissed. So I'm going Pittsburgh.
All right. So another consensus pick. I when I was looking at all these games this week, I thought that we may have a little bit more disagreement than we did last week, but it's actually turning out to be more consensus this week.
One who's picked differently.
Maybe you've picked the same and we've picked differently.
Okay, sure. Yeah, we can go that route.
All right. Minnesota visiting the Chargers. Chargers giving 3. Over under a 53. I'll let you guys start with this one since I've done the last couple.
Man, Minnesota's on the road for second straight week. I think they played pretty well last week, but their defense definitely let them down. And I think they'll probably run into the same thing this game where it's going to be close. And I know that the Vikings are like itching to grab this win because I think like they need it, right? Like if they don't get it, they just go further down into the division. So I think it's going to be close. Vikings are going to really be trying for the win, but I'm seeing like a Chargers by a field goal. Like it's going to be like down to the last 30 seconds. Chargers are going to I could see the Vikings maybe holding a lead for like the entire game and then the Chargers just closing it out. Because Chargers have just been better at closing out games this season than the Vikings have.
I think this goes over 53.
I have it highlighted. I think this is a shootout. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Chargers could be better, but I think they just haven't put it together yet. And Minnesota's just they're such an interesting team. They're always in it, but then they somehow lose. So
yeah, they've already had 3 overtime games this year.
Yeah.
Like their games are just very exciting. Like even if you're not a Vikings fan or if you're somebody who hates the Vikings, like their games are just very, very close and exciting.
Yeah, so I think this game could go either way, really. And like -3 in NFL now doesn't really mean much. Usually it's kind of like a toss up. So
for those who aren't, while you're saying that, for those who aren't like betting savvy and don't really know what you're looking at, generally speaking, if you're playing at home you get 3. Like that's your advantage for playing at home. So if you see like the Chargers are home and giving 3, that's essentially like the teams are very evenly matched, and the home field advantage is giving them those points. So just a little tidbit.
There was a article. I don't know if it's an article, but some came out maybe a couple years ago that it's been pretty consistent or even the -3 of like road versus home.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I mentioned that the -3 doesn't really mean much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm taking the Chargers.
All right. So I'm kind of in the same boat. I definitely think that this game will definitely be a shootout. The Chargers though are awful against the run. Absolutely awful. And Dalvin Cook has had a couple off the field things that popped up this week. Not really sure what is going to happen with that. I don't think it's going to affect his status for this game, but he has not, I think, performed outside of the injuries. He's really only had like one blow up game. I think this is a perfect spot for him to just have one of those 3 touchdown, 200 all purpose yard type games. And because Minnesota's played everybody so close, I think that they are due. And I just don't think the Chargers, like, their best win is probably the Chiefs, but the Chiefs are kind of terrible this year. So is it actually that good of a win? So I think that the Vikings are going to come into LA and get a win. I will pick my first dissenter pick here. All right. Going to Carolina, visiting Arizona. Arizona giving 10.5, even with Kyler and D-Hop, both questionable, still not practicing. Apparently it doesn't matter. Colt McCoy is just an MVP, and James Conner can't be stopped. So
I think James Conner is the MVP.
That's fair.
I mean, McCoy
That's fair.
fine.
McCoy looked fine though.
Oh, Rain. Reset it.
Oh, good call. Good call. Get rid of our.
Like McCoy looked fine. I mean, they were playing the Niners, right? Like that on paper should have been an easy game for the Niners to take advantage of. But then James Conner showed up and
foiled your plans.
Turns out the Niners actually suck. And we'll go into that more for the Monday night game when we get to it. But it just even though like I feel like Murray. How do you say his last name?
Murray?
Just Murray?
Kyler Murray.
Because he's got the A in there.
Murray? No, it's just Murray.
That's usually how you say Murray.
Yeah.
I feel like they're both coming back. Like they both had a tendency to just like not practice during the weeks but still play, and I feel like Hopkins his injury I'm assuming should be fine at this point. And the stuff that I've been reading, it seems like Kyler's saying he's good to go. So I don't think Carolina's defense will continue to be as good as they have like kind of been. Like they look fine, but the offense has not been helping them at all. So I feel like this is a big Cardinals game.
Hey, well,
also,
Darnold isn't supposed to play.
I was about to say
that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's the XFL guy, PJ. Is it PJ Tucker?
PJ Walker.
PJ Walker. PJ Tucker's a basketball player, I think. I mean, I don't see him playing out of his mind for this game, and I think Arizona just runs over Carolina.
Agreed.
Taking Arizona, baby.
We are all taking Arizona.
Yeah, I don't think I really need to say much more. I don't think Carolina's very good. I feel bad for DJ Moore. The only thing that, or the only person that can maybe make this game interesting is McCaffrey if he gets a full workload. But even so, like PJ Walker, you know, awesome that he's kind of found a spot coming out of the XFL after being kind of like the XFL star. But I just don't, Carolina doesn't have enough weapons, and Arizona's, I think they're for real. They had that one hiccup against Green Bay, but I think they're for real. So I will also be taking Arizona. All right. Seattle going to Green Bay. Green Bay giving 3.5. Decently high over under for, especially with a Seattle team that doesn't play very fast, but is getting Russ back.
Is he for sure playing?
Supposedly we're getting Russ back this week, which
I don't think it's been like officially confirmed, but it's sounding like he will be back.
The doctor that did his surgery medically cleared him to play. So as long as he feels good, I don't think there's any like risk of any more injury to it, and that the surgery is good to go. Chris Carson, I think, returned to practice today too, after he's been dealing with a neck injury. Aaron Rodgers should be back, which just helps that entire offense. Also, Green Bay really good on the back end, and Seattle not great on the ground, especially if Carson doesn't play. So I think this is one of the more interesting games of the week. I think
get rid of it again.
Oh God, I am just.
I mean, this could either be Aaron Rodgers versus Russell Wilson, or it's going to be Geno Smith versus Jordan Love. Right.
Yeah, right.
I think the assumption is that it's going to be Rodgers versus Wilson.
Yeah.
So I think Green Bay comes out on top, especially after their loss to KC last week. Like, Aaron Jones is going to get like 5 touchdowns. Like, it's easy.
Yeah.
Easy money.
Russell Wilson has like that, like magic kind of thing working for him. So like, at least some of the time, or maybe more than half the time at least. If he plays, I feel like I think he'll pull it out. But I just don't know if he's, man. That's just the hard thing. Like,
I think this is probably the hardest game to pick of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my confidence on this one is not the highest. Like, I'm going with Green Bay, but it's just.
I'm gonna lean with Seattle. Be a homer as a Bears fan, whatever.
Yeah. Hey man, it may not be the right process to think that way, but it might turn out working out okay for you in the long run. Yeah, I think honestly, even if Jordan Love did play, like I think they got away from Aaron Jones last week for some reason, and I really think that he is going to have just a massive bounce back day here against Seattle. And Aaron Rodgers is supposed to play anyway, so that just makes it even more of a reason for me to pick them. I don't think Seattle's defense is very good. The last time we saw them, they were beating up on Jacksonville. So, well, apparently Jacksonville's really good, so maybe that was a quality win if they can beat the Bills. But I will also be taking the Packers here in probably the game that I feel the least confident about this week.
You know, if you really think about it, if Rodgers comes back, the Seahawks defense will probably be playing at least 6 feet back from the line of scrimmage, and I don't see him being sacked at all that entire game because everyone hates him now.
Yeah,
and they don't want to go near him.
Yeah, they don't want to get coughed on. So
they're just going to be handing Green Bay, like they're just going to be like, you know what, you pretend like we're on the field, and we're not.
He's gonna just get to wear the like red no contact jersey in practice. And they're just gonna put up like stanchions around him, like Black Friday style, and they're just gonna have to stay 6 feet away, and he'll do his nipple crystal therapy on the field, and that will lead to a Green Bay victory.
Yeah,
that's something else. I'll tell you what.
Yep. All right, let's go on to Philly going to Denver. Denver apparently is explosive offensively, but they are giving 3. Point total of 44. Highlighted this one as a potential over as well. Philly I don't think is very good. I think they will not get shut out through 3 quarters like Dallas did, even going to Denver. But I think that may have just been the Cowboys, Dak coming out flat more than anything else, and Denver having a good game plan around. I mean, if you guys remember last week, CeeDee, Amari, and Michael Gallup were all hurt all week in practice dealing with various injuries. So that could have also led to Denver looking great. Philly still going to be without Miles Sanders, I believe. Jalen Hurts is throwing the ball less than 20 times a game. So it's pretty easy to key into what they're going to do, and everything flows through Dallas Goedert and Devonta Smith. And I think Denver and that defense will have a key on what they are going to do. Just stop giving Melvin Gordon the ball, please. Vic, if you're watching this, just give it to Javonte Williams, please. Please give it to Javonte Williams. I think he had his breakout game last week, and I think they're just going to continue to hopefully build on that. So I will be taking Denver at home. What's up, Citadel?
So this is where I think, like, okay, Broncos obviously in the playoff chase now after their upset last week over the Cowboys. However, they're prime for just a big old letdown after expending major energy to take down Dallas last week, right? I think this is going to be a close game, but again, this one's going to be won by a field goal, and it's going to be Eagles.
Go Birds! Go Birds!
Go Birds!
All right. Well, I wasn't expecting Derek to take Philly, to be honest with you. One thing that I did notice is the Eagles, for some reason, playing against offenses that aren't very good, their defense shows up. So I think Jalen Hurts somehow pulls it out, and Denver,
Go Birds!
Denver lays an egg after whooping up on Dallas.
Go Birds!
Go Birds! Let's go Bryce!
Yes, sir.
Go Birds! I'm actually pretty surprised by those picks. I think oh god, how did I end up giving you the Texans there? I hope you're not trying to pick the Texans for any reason.
Oh no.
We're good now. We're good. The overlay was giving us some problems there. I think it's interesting that you say Denver's offense is bad. I think now that Jerry Jeudy's back, I really think they're not terrible. Teddy Two Gloves is good enough, I think.
But that's the thing. He's able to be decent. He's not a game changer, right? So like
sure, but also remember the air in Denver is thinner. You're lighter, you're faster. The other team has to take extra oxygen. So all big advantage there.
Sorry to say though, but you're gonna lose that game.
I feel like you thought that about the Giants too, and look who was 9-5 last week.
That's fine. But we're talking about week 10. We talked about week 9 earlier. This is week 10. We'll see what happens.
All right, let's move on to our Sunday night game here. If you would have asked me to pick this game after week 1 and to talk about this game after week 1, I think we all would have been really high on both of these teams after they look good to open the season and they look good for the first couple weeks, but something is going on with Patrick Mahomes, and Vegas is bad. They revealed their true colors for sure.
Yeah, they started off, pulling some dubs.
Yeah,
just kind of slow.
I mean, they're still 5-3, and in at some point last week, we're still leading that division. Like,
yeah. That division's, I think all of them have 5 wins.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, everyone's 5-3 or 5-4.
Yeah.
So it's up for grabs. But even Denver's in it. So.
You stop slandering the Broncos.
I mean, they're bad.
Do you think
there
they
with you.
do you think they beat the Bears? Are they a better team than the Bears?
So if we're gonna talk about that, you saw Justin Fields start coming into his own. Start a little breakout last week. Even against San Francisco with his legs, and then this week with his arm. I mean, if we have a better coach, yeah.
But you don't.
I just don't trust Nagy. So
All right.
Right.
So Denver, the better team. Got it. KC on the road, giving 2.5. A very high point total. And I don't know what Vegas knows that we don't, or what games they've been watching, but I don't know where these points come from in this game, unless this is the re-breakout game for KC and they figure it out, in which case I'll happily be wrong because that helps a lot of fantasy assets be better. But as it stands right now, I don't think this game gets to 52.5. I do, however, think that as bad as Kansas City has been, Vegas is worse. And I do think Mahomes starts figuring it out a little bit here. And I think KC goes in, wins it. Probably a tough divisional matchup going into Vegas, but I just think the pedigree is there and they're just the better team. So I will be taking the Chiefs.
Yeah, I was in the same. I think Chiefs are just a better team. Carr hit a weird funk in New York, and that seems to be right at the same time Mahomes is starting to regain some more turnover-free confidence. So I feel like this is going to be a bit of a shootout, though, like because the Chiefs' defense have kind of just been iffy. So I mean, for me, I was seeing like a like 34-33. Like this is going to be a real close game.
You're on the over then.
I'm taking the over. I think it's going to go over.
yeah. So
Whether it's just the Chiefs doing it themselves, I think it's going to go over.
I mean, this could be the week that Mahomes throws for 6 and rushes for another 2 and puts up like 80 fantasy points.
Yeah.
and
And
then everyone's like, he's back.
yeah, and then the
So-
MVP chants start.
Derek Carr has hit a bit of a funk lately, especially going into New York playing against the Giants. So I don't see how. I mean, I think Kansas City is a better team than the Giants, so I don't see how they pull this out. But I think it's an over. I mean, maybe not an over, but I think it's close to 52 points. I think it'll be a shootout.
I mean,
don't think
The Giants
either
did
defenses are any good.
the Giants did almost also beat Kansas City. So maybe the Giants are just the best team in the East and better than all of the AFC West.
Yeah, we're just gonna go to the next game after that. Like, I picked Kansas City.
Got it. I don't even get to talk about my Giants this week. That's so disappointing.
Do you really even want to?
I mean, do you want to talk about the Bears? It's still my team.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
As disappointing and embarrassing as they are, like it's still my team, unfortunately. Bleed blue. Go Birds.
Words.
All right, final game of the week, Monday night. The Rams going into San Fran. We get two, Sunday night, Monday night, 2 good divisional matchup games potentially. But the Rams giving 3.5, another road favorite, 48.5 over under. We still have Jimmy G quarterbacking San Fran for some reason. Matt Stafford did not look good last week, making, like we talked about earlier, Detroit Matt Stafford throws. But LA is pretty healthy. Obviously, the defense is good. They didn't really get to show it against Tennessee because they were constantly playing from a short field, or just the ball was going right back to LA after Matt Stafford throws a pick 6. So I think San Fran's also not very good. Matt Stafford probably, I think, gets back to form here. I hate picking all of these road divisional winners, but I think I'm going to have to go again with the Rams. in just another outmatched talent game for LA.
Oh yeah, no, the Niners secondary just isn't there. There might be like one or two good defensive plays, throughout the whole game, but it's just they've just looked not great the last couple of weeks. Even like against the Bears, like they should have lost that game. I don't see them holding any ground to the Rams, honestly.
All right, going against your team, the non-homer pick this week.
I gotta.
I
It
think
don't feel right.
I think the Rams. I mean, they both teams laid an egg last week, right? But I think the Rams have the better team. I don't want to say the better coach, but they do have a better team, and I think Sean McVay is able to get the guys ready, and I think they will cover, and I think they'll beat San Francisco at San Francisco.
All right, so really not a lot of dissension in the ranks this week. I got a couple. I took Denver. Bryce took Seattle. I took Minnesota. You took New Orleans, and then you took New England. So I mean, we got a couple to make some standings noise here for week 10.
Yeah.
But I think we're in for a good week. We don't have any graphics set up for it yet, but I think we're talking about doing a lock of the week. So let's make our lock of the week picks this week. Like we talked about earlier, I think this was an interesting week that I thought was going to have a little bit more disagreement, but those last few games there are pretty tough. But I think my lock this week is going to be Arizona. I'm going to go with the Cardinals locked in over Carolina.
Okay. Let's see. So you're going. Now.
So I have the graphics up, right?
Oh, well, that's fine.
I'm just saying.
I like that Rams logo, so we're just gonna.
Okay. All right.
It is a good logo.
It is a good logo.
Why am I just fucking blind to where the Cardinals?
So there we go. I'll make my lock. The Cardinals on.
Oh, because you it's Arizona, so it's like who the fuck.
Yeah, when I was putting them in, some of them are by city and some of them are by team name. So enjoy going through everything there.
Yeah.
They are sorted by division, though.
I'm gonna go my lock. Tennessee, locking it in. Lock it in.
Lock it in.
Lock
Tennessee.
It in.
So for mine, I'm going on with New England. And I think I'm just because it's at New England, and I think it's going to be a Belichick game. I think they come out and they're starting to they're coming for Buffalo. That's what I'll say.
I like the boldness of going with a not big favorite and also a game that we disagreed on as your lock.
Yeah.
I really commend you for the courage.
We can't all be the same, and
No, I'm there for it.
I could have went with Tampa Bay and just been like Tampa Bay because they're playing Washington.
I feel like that was too easy though.
Yeah. But
we should do something like you can't lock in the same team 2 weeks in a row or something, or twice over the rest of.
No, yeah, that works for me.
Over the rest of the season, but
should we do like we also can't do like the same locks? Like I can't be like I also am locking in Arizona.
Nah, I mean I think that's okay if you really feel good about a team. We both wouldn't be able to use it, in week 16. So
yeah, I think that's fine.
All right, boys. Well, thank you again for a solid week 10.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate the help with putting together the new graphics. I hope everybody who's watching this live or will check it out later will enjoy the new production value that we've got here. Clearly, we spent the no expenses were spared in creating this little layout here.
Some expenses might be spared if we get sued for using.
I mean, I don't have those kind of
We
expenses.
may not have those expenses anymore.
But before we end here for the football talk stream, I just want to throw this little NFL Blitz background back up because
Hell yeah.
that is hopefully not what is going to happen this week to Dallas. So hopefully
That's what's gonna happen when I come out on top this week.
you're gonna just leg drop me like Macho Man.
Macho Man Randy Savage.
Or like Hulk. You give me the leg drop.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Oh shit, Citadel, thanks for the 500 bits. I appreciate that. I mean, that's how you open up these leads, right?
Seattle. He's getting. Basically, Bryce is going undefeated this week. That's what
I hope so. You better put a 15
Oh,
or a 14 bet parlay in.
so that's what we should talk about. For the bet, if someone does not get it right at like a single pick right,
Yeah.
they're just instantly have to pay for the sushi dinner.
Yeah, if you get
But
skunked.
we didn't.
I can see that.
But,
Yeah.
but we didn't talk about what if someone goes undefeated. Should we do anything with that?
I think we should celebrate them for being a genius.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Our brains all look like Giga Bryce
Okay. Yeah.
at that point.
Absolutely.
So
That person's in charge of the scratchies.
You have-
at
yeah,
Lotto tickets
you
this
have
week, so.
all of the wrinkles on your brain. So
I mean, do you see my abs?
I do. They are quite wrinkled. All right, boys. I think we're going to transition into a little Back for Blood and do that. So I'm going to close up the football stream. But thank you again.